So you're looking at the EB-5 program. It's this incredible pathway to the American dream. But let's be honest, it's a complex journey with a lot on the line. And here's the thing. It all comes down to one single decision, one choice that more than anything else will determine whether you succeed or fail. And that's the project you choose to invest in. Which really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? Is what you're doing a smart, calculated investment in your family's future, or is it a gamble? A high-stakes bet you didn't even realize you were making? The line between those two things is razor thin, and it's all about the project you pick. And believe me, the outcomes couldn't be more different. On one side, you've got the dream scenario, a permanent green card, your money back, and a clear path to U.S. citizenship for your family. But on the other, it's a total nightmare. Immigration denial, your capital just gone, and years of your life tangled up in legal battles. Your project choice is literally the fork in the road between these two realities. So let's break down how you make that choice the right way. Here's what we're going to cover. We'll look at those two different paths. We'll talk about the tricky balance between your immigration and financial goals, and I'll give you a real practical playbook for doing your homework. We're also going to cover how to spot those critical red flags, and really importantly, how to think about the long game, getting your money back and keeping it secure. All right, Section 1. One choice, two fates. Why your project selection is the foundation of your entire EB-5 journey. Let's get right into it. The main idea here is simple but so important. Choosing your project isn't just one step in a checklist. It's the foundation. It's what your entire EB-5 journey is built on. Okay, just so we're all on the same page, let's do a super quick refresher on what the EB-5 program actually is. It was set up back in 1990 to give the U.S. economy a little boost. The deal is you invest capital into a project, and that project has to create at least 10 U.S. jobs. If it does, you get a pathway to a green card. Sound simple enough, right? Well, the devil is in the details. And you don't have to take my word for it. This quote from our source material really hits the nail on the head. It says, the project you pick is what often determines whether you successfully go from a temporary green card to a permanent one. I mean, it couldn't be any clearer. The project is the key. So this leads us to the big challenge, the central dilemma of any EB-5 investment. It's this really unique balancing act. See, with a normal investment, you've got one goal, make money. But with EB-5, you're trying to do two things at once. You have your immigration goals and you have your financial goals, and they're not always pulling in the same direction. And that's where things get tricky. On the immigration side, you absolutely need that project to reliably create jobs. It has to be compliant with all of the government rules. And seeing that a developer has a great track record with I-829 approvals, that's gold. But then, the investor part of your brain kicks in, right? And it's looking at the other side, thinking about high returns, getting your money out quickly, and making sure your capital is safe. The real art is finding a project that can do both. So you really have to ask yourself, what's my main driver here? What's my why? Is this whole thing about getting my kids into a great U.S. university? Is it about diversifying my assets? Once you're clear on your primary motivation, it becomes a whole lot easier to figure out which risks are worth taking. Okay, enough theory. Let's get practical. Let's turn all this into a solid, actionable plan. This is your due diligence playbook. Think of it as your step-by-step guide for looking at these projects and feeling confident you know what you're doing. We're going to break it down into 3 simple core steps. First, vet the developer. Second, assess the regional center. And third, scrutinize the legal safeguards. That's it. Let's walk through each one. All right, step 1, vetting the developer. This is where you have to ask the tough questions. Do they actually have a history of completing projects, or is this their first rodeo? And here's the big one. Have their previous investors actually gotten their permanent green cards? A solid history of I-821 approvals is probably the single best sign you can look for to lower your risk. Okay, step 2, the regional center. Think of them as the organization that bundles everyone's investment money together for the big projects. What you're looking for here is experience, a long track record of getting projects approved by the government. You want to see that they have tight controls, and this is key, that they have a clear, believable plan for how you're going to see your capital again. And step 3, the legal stuff, the safeguards. Does the project use an escrow account? This is huge. It means your money is held safely by a neutral third party. Is there an independent administrator, someone whose only job is to watch the money? Look, these aren't just boring details in the fine print. They're the seatbelts and airbags for your investment. So we've talked about what to look for. Now, let's flip that around. It's just as important to know what to avoid.
This next part is all about spotting those big, flashing red flags, the warning signs that can save you from making a huge mistake. All right, warning signs. When you're reviewing a project, you need to have your radar up for these.
First off, if anyone uses the word guaranteed returns, guaranteed approval, run. That is a massive red flag. Also, be super skeptical of projects with crazy timelines that seem too good to be true. And here's a big one. Check the financing. If the project is funded only by EB-5 money, it's incredibly risky. Think about it. What happens if they don't get enough investors to sign up? The whole thing could just stall. No construction, no jobs, and your green card hopes gone. All right, let's pull back and look at the big picture for a second, the long game. Because the decision you make today isn't just about getting that initial yes on your application. The project has to survive and thrive for years, all the way until you get your money back. And honestly, this is where a lot of people stumble. Just look at this timeline. It really shows you what a marathon this is, not a sprint. You file your petition at year 0, but you might not even get to file the petition to get your permanent green card until year 4 or 5. That means the project you pick has to stay afloat, create those jobs, and stay compliant for that entire time. If that project goes under in year 3, your whole dream goes under with it. And that brings us to something that is absolutely critical, the exit strategy. Look, getting the green card is fantastic, but a truly successful journey ends with you getting your investment back. A project that doesn't have a clear plan for how you get your money out isn't just a bad investment, it's a trap. It can hold your capital hostage for years. So what should you be looking for? What does a good exit strategy look like? Well, you'll see it in the paperwork. It could be a plan to refinance the whole project, or maybe a planned sale of the building once it's up and running. The most important thing is that the plan is there, in writing, before you sign anything. It needs to be detailed, it needs to make sense, and it needs to be part of the deal from day one. So, if we boil it all down, the message is crystal clear. Being diligent, getting expert help, and really evaluating every aspect of a project, that isn't just a nice to have. It is, without a doubt, the single most important factor that will determine the outcome of your EB-5 journey. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about money, is it? You're building a brand new future for you, for your family. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Are you absolutely sure you're building that future on solid ground?